Hey there, it's Jillian, and we're going to start Unit 3, which is equations. Now, before we even look at this, I want to ask you something. Close your eyes if you want. I'm going to make this really simple. I want you to imagine that you have 3 hats, okay? And if I say to you, I want you to figure out how many more hats you need to get 7 hats in total, you know that the answer is 4, right? If I say you have 7 hats and I want you to give away a certain number of hats so that you have 3 left, you know the answer is 4. So you know to get from 3 to 7 is add 4, and you know to get from 7 to 3 is subtract 4. Okay? So now we're going to take a look at equations, which is exactly that for the most part. So here, if I have x plus 3 equals 7, that says something plus 3 is going to give me 7. And we know that that something is 4. However, if I write it like this, something is 7 minus 3, you know that the answer is also 4. So these two equations, I say equations because they have equal signs, so they're called equations. These two equations are basically the same. They're not identical. One's plus 3, the other side's minus 3. But the point is that I'm trying to make is that when you have something on one side of the equation, if you change the sign and bring it to the other side of the equation, you're going to end up with the same answer, right? 3 add 4 is 7. 7 less 4 is 3. 7 less 3 is 4. It's all related, okay? So what you can do if you want to get your unknown variable on its own is you can take this plus 3 and plop it over on the other side of the equal sign, and when you do so, you need to just change the sign. Adding will become subtracting. Subtracting will become adding. If it's multiplying like we do down here, it's going to become dividing. If it's dividing, it's going to become multiplying. That's how this works. Let's see. So here we know that x equals 4. So following that rule, if I have something minus 4 is 5, just close your eyes and think. If I have something and I subtract 4, I end up with 5. What did I start with? What's my something? I have something. I'm going to subtract 4. I'm going to end up with 5. What's this? You can probably do it in your head, and you know it's 9. So let's show how this works. If you bring minus 4 over the equal sign, it's going to become plus 4, and therefore you can see that it is indeed 9. So this is how we solve equations. We do the opposite operation when we bring something over the equal sign. If it helps you to write stuff down, then write it down, like in English. When you move over the equal sign, plus becomes minus, minus becomes plus, multiplying becomes divide, and divide becomes multiplying. This is called taking notes, guys. Learn to do it. You need to know how to do it. Okay, so here we have 3 times something is negative 21. Well, you know your times tables, so you know that if it's positive 3 times something and the answer is negative, the answer is going to be negative. And 3 times what is 21? Of course, 7. But if this is 3 times x, when you bring it over, times it's going to become divide. So that'll be negative 21 divided by 3, and of course the answer is indeed negative 7. Here, this is multiplying, so when we bring the negative 30 over, it's going to be divide. Now we have a fraction that we need to reduce. It doesn't go in evenly the way this did, but we can divide both numbers by 5. So let's reduce. We've got 5 goes into 5 once, 5 goes into 36 times. We know that from our times tables, and we know a positive divided by a negative is a negative. Let me just give you a quick little lesson over here for a second about proper form with positives and negatives. Okay. If you have a fraction, let's say a half, you can have the negative under there, you can have it in front, or you can have it in the top. This is considered bad form. These are both considered okay. I think the best thing is to do this one. You're going to find that it's going to make more sense if you put the sign, if it's a negative sign, right up in the numerator. Okay, now let's see what happens with the next step.